Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And I'm already having fun. Can't wait to get into this episode. So make sure you guys go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. So I was recently watching a segment, I believe it was yesterday, on First Things First. And Chris Broussard was giving his take on what has happened and what's transpired thus far between the Nets and the Boston Celtics, right? Now, going into that series, Chris Broussard actually picked the Nets to be victorious in that series. And after that buzzer beater loss in game one that Jason Tatum was able to lay up, that layup that he had, he was still very confident, in his pick, right? Because he came on TV and he said that. But after game two, and after he saw how Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were shut out of that game, Chris Broussard came back to the show and he was out there making some very insightful comments. But towards the end of that segment, he said something that I thought was quite profound in a sports context. And he brought up a point that I think is going to stir up a lot of conversation, at least on this channel. But if more people see it, I think it's going to stir up a lot of conversation in the basketball community, right? So before we go too far, what we want to do is quickly play a quick exchange between him and Nick Wright. And what I want you guys to focus on is not really what Nick Wright was saying, but I want you to focus on some of the things that he said towards the end of his monologue. So before we go too far, take a listen to what Chris Broussard had to say there. Then we're going to come back and really get into this video. So take a listen to that.
Kyrie Irving is an excellent offensive player that has been wildly overrated by segments of the media and segments of the player population because he is so almost hypnotizing with his skill. It should not be a shock to anyone that Kyrie Irving followed a great game with a bad game. He has done that throughout this season. The Durant thing is jarring in a way I have been saying for the last 2 months, those 40 minutes a game might be wearing him down. That's the only possible explanation.
No.
Brew, you're shaking your head. I know you're saying it shouldn't happen.
There's another explanation.
There's another explanation.
First of all, he was out
for
the
thing.
20-something games straight.
I understand that, but just quickly, if I may. In this series, he has 13 made baskets and 12 turnovers. The way he is having the ball taken from him is more jarring than the missed jump shots or even seeing his jump shot get blocked. He is not, and he seemed so quietly confident going into this series in the press conferences. To see Kevin Durant on the court getting bullied, getting pushed around, not being able to do anything it is not the same stakes and it is not that level of meltdown. But it is nearly as jarring as, to me, LeBron in 11, where it was like, wait, what is happening here? I've never seen this guy play like this. No.
Here's the difference.
I'm just saying as far as how different it looks from how I expected him to play. That's all I'm saying. It just doesn't look like Kevin Durant.
I agree with that, but LeBron took himself out of the series in 2011. They didn't stop him. He stopped himself.
Yep.
Kevin, let's give the Celtics some credit. And I'm going to say, Nick, because we always hear, I even heard Gilbert Arenas recently on a podcast talking about Rodman, Jordan, Pippen. They couldn't guard Kevin Durant. This is 90s basketball. The refs are letting the Celtics play 90s defense. And they're getting physical with Kevin Durant, and he's not used to it. He's used to having room, being able to do what he wants. They are getting physical with him, and that's the problem. Simple as that. We know he's not incredibly strong. He's not big. He's not a physical player. They are letting the Celtics be physical, and it's thrown Durant off his game. That's the explanation. If he's tired from playing 40 minutes for a couple of months, shame on him. This is because they are playing too physical for him.
Now, there was a lot said in that exchange. The first thing is this. I noticed that people were twerking it up over the last, maybe, let me say 6 to 12 months, or maybe the last 2 years, about how great the NBA is today. Oh man, the NBA, the skill level is absolutely off the charts, man. These guys are so skilled, and it's one of the reasons they can't be stopped. How can you stop these NBA players today? They're so skilled. Oh my God. You know, I mean, did Michael Jordan ever have to go against such skilled basketball? This is the nonsense that we've had to put up with over the last 2 years. And I was one of the voices that was pushing back on that. I said, wait a minute, it's a different game. People are like, no. You don't know what it is. The basketball players in it. I mean, look how many threes these guys are making. And I'm like, guys, do you realize that when Michael Jordan was playing on the 1997-1998 Chicago Bulls, that team was averaging 14.1 3-point attempts per game. Today, NBA teams are averaging above 35, 36 attempts per game. But no, you don't understand. They're so skilled. They can shoot the three so well. Forgetting the fact that if you do something more, you're going to get better at it. But no. So I was one of the people that said, if Michael Jordan played in the NBA today, he would dominate the league. Why did I say that? I said because of the way that the game is played. Because I've noticed all too often, how many 40-point and 50-point performances have we had this season? Literally everybody has had at least a 40-point game. Everybody can score 50 points. So I had to go back and unearth a video that I heard of the late and great Kobe Bryant when he was actually talking to Floyd Mayweather, where he basically explained why it is so easy to score in the NBA today. It's about a 20-second clip. So before we go too far, I want to quickly play that exchange between Kobe and Floyd Mayweather. The first person you're going to hear is Floyd. The second person is Kobe. So listen carefully, because Kobe pretty much explains why players can score so easily today in the NBA. Take a listen to that.
Over there, the rules kind of different. But listen, over there, the rules kind of different. I think when the ball be like on the rim, you can like...
You can knock it off.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's what you're doing. That's why, you know what, though? They let you play over there, too.
Yeah, you gotta really get fouled.
Yeah, they let you play.
You really gotta get fouled.
You know, out here, they'll change the rules up. Shit, you can't even touch them. Don't touch it. It's crazy.
Now, for those of you who didn't hear exactly what Kobe said, what he said was, you can't touch MFs today. You can't put your hand on these ends today. And that's the reason why it is so hard to guard them. That clip was actually, made in 2013, I believe it is, right? Kobe was complaining then. That is the reason why. He said they changed the rules and you can't touch these MFs again. But what we saw, to go back to the point that Chris Broussard made in the first two games of the Boston Celtics versus Brooklyn Nets series, was them, to use his words, they were playing 90s defense. That is what he said. He said the referees basically allowed them to play physical basketball. And when they were allowed to play that, guys that are, oh my God, their skill level is through the roof. They can do anything. They can score 150 million points in 3 games. You saw what happened when you're allowed to play tough-nosed physical defense. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. If Michael Jordan played today, he would easily, let me say it again, easily, let me say it one more time for the people that think I'm joking, easily average over 40 points per game if he played in the NBA today. Some people, when they hear that, they're like, oh my God, I don't understand. And the people that think that Jordan wouldn't be able to do this are people that probably have no understanding of just how good Michael Jordan was, number one, and number two, they don't even understand how Jordan actually scored. And number three, they don't understand how the NBA game was when Jordan actually played. Let me just break it down for you guys. And I love doing these type of videos, so I'm just going to get into it here and really break it down for you guys and explain to you quickly how Jordan could easily, let me say it one more time, easily average 40 points per game if he was playing in today's NBA. Let me tell it to you. Jordan would be able to score about 40 points per game today, and he wouldn't need to average more than 3 or 4 3-point attempts per game. Somebody's like, did this guy just say he wouldn't need to average more than 3 to 4? Yes, that's what I said. When James Harden, I think, scored 36 points per game, he was averaging, I think, 12 to 13. No, he was averaging about 12 3-point attempts per game. Let me say that one more time. 12! And he was making about 4. That's why he was able to score so many damn points. It wasn't like as if James Harden was some type of amazing basketball player. And as you can see now, he's not really the guy we thought he was. And I never thought he was all of that. Some people did. Now, that's the first thing. He would only need to average about 3 to 4 3-point attempts. And people are like, what are you talking about? If you don't know why I'm saying that, then you guys got to get more informed. In the 1987 season, Michael Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game that season. Good, we get that. Close to 40, right? 3 points off, 2.9 points off, great. During that season, though, he only attempted 0.8 3-pointers per game. Did y'all hear what I just said? He only attempted 0.8 3-pointers per game. Do you know the total amount of threes he averaged to make it to make that number make sense? Because like 0.8, what the hell is that? To make that make sense, Michael Jordan in that season attempted a grand total. Listen to this: a grand total of 66 3-point attempts, and he only made 12 on the year. And the guy played 82 games that season. To put that in another way, he made, listen to this, about 1.5 3-point shots every 20 games. So for every 20 games he played, he made about 1 to 2 3-pointers. That's what Michael Jordan did. And he was able to average 37.1. I want you guys to sit back and think about I think people feel, there's some people that say Jordan is overrated. Personally, in my personal opinion, I don't think he's rated high enough. Some people are like, did you just? Yes, I said that. Jordan, I believe, doesn't even get enough credit. He's actually way better than people talk about. He's actually much better than you think, believe it or not. He's much better than you think. This guy was able to average those points, average 31 points per game doing that. Just think about that for a second. So when I say he could easily average 40 points per game, it's not some fantasy I'm talking about. He could do it in two simple ways. The first way he could do it is, number one, the simplest way, increase his 3-point shot attempts. Instead of averaging 0.8 threes, average about 4 to 5 and make about 1 or 2 per game. Let's say he makes 2. Okay, let's say he makes 2 off from what James Harden was making. If you multiply 2 3-pointers made over an 82-game season, and Jordan could play 82 games, as we know, it would add about 492 points to his overall totals. That season in 1987, he scored 3,041 points. Imagine if the guy was making 1 to 2 3-pointers per game. Imagine how many more points he would have actually scored that season, and imagine how much more he would have averaged. When you quickly start going through the arithmetic, you quickly begin to see how easy it is. So that's the first way. Secondly, Jordan, if he played in the NBA today, they would have more possessions. So he would actually get more opportunities to score in the fast break, which could get him at least 4 to 6, probably 8 points per game just in the half court. I mean, just in the full court, in the open court, just running up and down the floor. That's another way. In another way, it's quite simple. He could actually attempt more free throws. Why do I say that? Because that season, I think he was averaging about 11 free throw attempts. If Jordan played today and he decided to attack the basket, he'll probably average about 14 to 15 free throw attempts per game. Some people say, well, how could you do that? Because there are no traditional centers anymore in the NBA. The game is open up. You have fives that are stretching out to the corner to hit threes, like Joel Embiid, who hit that fantastic game-winning shot against the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. That was a center that did that. So if Jordan played in the NBA today, he would easily, let me just say it again, he would easily average about 42 to 45 points per game. He would. You know why? Because this NBA doesn't play 90s defense. That's why. Number two, he's just that much better than everybody else. He's literally that much better than everybody else. And if we look at some of the players today that I think would be able to take their games into the era that he played, and I think guys that would have done well in that era, I think LeBron would have played well because of his physicality, and he would have worked on his game, and he'd have been skilled enough to be able to contribute at a high level. I think LeBron could play in pretty much any era, but especially in Jordan's era. I think Kawhi Leonard could do it because he's a fantastic jump shooter. If you go look at his numbers, I don't have time to argue with people that don't do the research. People that just sit up here and, oh, you just trying to throw Kawhi. Go look at his numbers and stop wasting my time telling me stupid things about, oh, you're just trying to go look at his numbers. Kawhi Leonard is a fantastic mid-range shooter, but also he's an extremely physical basketball player. He plays with a lot of physicality. I think he would have done well. Obviously, I think Giannis Antetokounmpo would have done well. He doesn't need to be shooting all those threes. He can just go out there and dominate. And he would dominate now, and he would dominate then. I think he would be really fine, because I think players that have some skill, but also have a great deal amount of physicality and physical strength would do well in Jordan's era. So that's the reason why. So to Chris Broussard's point, I salute you. That was a fantastic point, and it sparked this conversation because it was something I didn't think about. If Chris Broussard ever sees this, that was a hell of a point you brought up, man. Fantastic, excellent point. So what I want to know from you guys is, number one, what do you think about the points that Chris Broussard made? And number two, what do you think about the arguments that I laid bare in front of you guys? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.